welcome to the Expanded Woman Network podcast. I'm Sherry Gideons, your host, and my co-host is Misty Willis.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, and we want to welcome today Christy Jones. She is an amazing teacher of what our body's wisdom can tell us about, our gut health and everything, and how we can have that managed. So thank you so much for being here, and we're so glad to see you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here with both of you.
Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how does our emotional state affect our gut health?
Yeah, and I would love to dive into this, but I'm wondering, one of the things that I love to do is I love to start with movement.
Yay!
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So one of the best ways to actually create a good a happy feeling in our body is to move. So for anybody that's on with us, if you can stand up, stand up. If you can't, you can still do the same things I'm saying and what I'm going to walk you through sitting as well. And so, for Misty and Sherry, you can decide whether you're going to sit.
Hey, I'm getting up. I'm getting up. Let's do it.
Let's move a little bit. And really what we're wanting to do today is to feel good. So who today wants to feel good? Right? I do. So let's go ahead and first, I want to bring ourselves here. So we're in the present moment. So put one hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen, and let's take 4 deep breaths together. So with your hands here, if you want to close your eyes, close your eyes. If you want to keep your eyes open, keep your eyes open. But our work right now, or our play right now, is just to feel our breath. So with our hands here, close your eyes and let's breathe in through our nose and then out through our mouth. Breathing in all the way down to your abdomen and breathe out. Deep breath in and out. And one more deep breath. And notice, just from taking those few deep breaths, what do you notice and feel inside your body? So Sherry or Misty, if you want to comment, what do you notice?
Calm.
Yeah. So often we're rushing from one thing to another, and taking just a few breaths to bring ourselves here, you feel a difference in your body, right? So now that we've brought ourselves here, go ahead and put your fingers together like this. And you might lose my arms because I don't have as much space, but stretch up. And so you want to stretch up as high as you can, stretching your spine. Keep breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just bring your arms up, 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 making your spine as straight as possible. And then wiggle your hands side to side. And just notice your body as we do these simple movements together. Once again, if you need to be sitting down doing this, you can still do this sitting down. We're giving our organs some space. They need space to work properly. And now stretch straight up. So stop wiggling, stretch straight up. Now you're going to bring your arms back like this. So you're going to come back. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold that back, hold that stretch. And then bring your arms down and shake it out. Whew.
That feels good.
Doesn't that feel so good?
Yes.
So often we're holding tension in our body. So just shake, bounce your knees if you're standing, and just shake your body. Imagine you're a noodle and you're dusting your body and you're shaking out any stagnant energy. We want to open up the energy flow in our body, because then we feel amazing when we do that. We have plenty of energy, but we waste it worrying and we hold it trapped in our body. So shake a little bit more.
Look at me, I got my little bow on my dress.
If you like jumping, you can jump and shake. I'm a jumper. I
like that.
shake just in your chair if you needed to, right? Shake it out. We need some music, right?
I know.
Shake-a-boomy boom boom.
There you go, Sherry. And then stop. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen. Again, take a breath. And what do you notice in your body?
Wow, I felt like the whole energy just lifted.
Doesn't that feel so good?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So often, once again, just a simple movement can change how you feel emotionally. You know, it can change your whole day just by moving your body a little bit. Now, I want to walk you through one more exercise that your job is to really pay attention to the energy in your body. We're going to do something called head, heart, tummy tapping. I work with kids, so my words are always really simple, but that's how I do life anyway.
I love it.
But go ahead and stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Once again, if you're sitting, you can just sit with a tall spine. Bounce your knees, get your fingertips out, and we're going to go ahead and tap our head with our fingertips all around our head. If you want to close your eyes, once again, you're going to feel more relaxed. But tap, keep breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine as you're breathing in, you're breathing sunshine into every cell. And when you're breathing out, you're just letting go of any stagnant energy that needs to leave your body. And notice as you're doing this, where does it feel good? Or does it feel tender on certain spots of your head? What we're doing is we're increasing the blood flow to our brain. That is good news. We're increasing the oxygen flow, and we're letting go of tension from thinking too much. Does anybody ever think too much?
Never.
And then make sure you get the backbones of your head. Those backbones hold a lot of tension. This is your massage for the day. And then come over to your temples and tap your temples. So if anybody's joining us, just jump up and tap with us and you will feel amazing, I promise. And then come over to your forehead. We want to get blood flow to our forehead.
Get a little sinus clearing too.
Yes.
Next place, hands right in front of you. We're going to tap right here on our heart and our lungs. So our heart chakra, and close your eyes and really pay attention. As you're tapping here, your head is going to relax. You're going to literally feel your energy come down from your head. Too often we're thinking way too much and we trap energy in our head. So we're bringing it down to create a natural energy flow in our body. And you really can't tap. Your body's going to tell you how hard to tap, but you know, you want to have a little, you want to feel it.
I feel it. It feels good.
Yeah, it feels awesome.
We hold a lot of energy here, a lot of energy blocks here. So if somebody does experience something like anxiety, tapping here can really help those feelings dissipate or reduce those feelings. So tap here a little bit longer. Now, if you want to make this even more effective, you can add a little sound to it because there are healing sounds for our body. And the most healing sound is the sound of ah. So if you tap here and you go, do you feel that vibration?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Does it feel good?
Feels
Yes.
great.
Yeah. And you'll notice when we're frustrated, we'll automatically go, ah, right? It's our body trying to release
Yeah,
tension.
that's true.
So you can do this just as a way to take care of your body. You don't have to be frustrated. Okay, next place, hands here. We're going to tap right under our belly button. So we're going to be talking about the gut today, and our gut needs to be warm. So you want to flat hands tap right under your belly button. Keep bouncing your knees, and then turn your head side to side. So I know this is maybe a little bit of a challenge, but you're actually making your brain younger and more flexible. And the reason we're turning our head side to side is we're relaxing our brainstem. So we're relaxing the stress response in our body. Who likes feeling relaxed?
I do.
And the reason we're tapping our abdomen is because our gut is our second brain. Did you know that when your abdomen is warm, you are boosting your immune system, you're boosting your serotonin, and you're boosting your dopamine by doing this movement right here. So feel where you're tapping, you're bringing your attention, your focus to your gut, and just feeling that vibration, and you're warming your abdomen, boosting your serotonin, boosting your immune system. So once again, if you're joining us, just get up and tap and you will feel good.
You feel so good.
Yeah.
We might be like, what are they doing today?
Well, and you know what's so funny is I can naturally feel my muscles flex because of so many years of training in the bodybuilding industry, and you naturally just flex your muscles.
Yes. And then go ahead and stop. Put one hand on your heart again, one hand on your abdomen. Take a couple deep breaths in and check inside your body. And notice, what is your body telling you? What are you feeling inside?
I feel like the energy is all the way through versus like being stuck in little spots.
Yeah.
That's what
so you feel your energy flowing through your body?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Does your head feel a little bit cooler? Is your chest a little bit more open? And is your abdomen a little bit warmer?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
What else do you feel?
Oh God, I just feel like there's energy flowing through my entire body.
Yes.
I feel very relaxed. And I mean, honestly, what that just did for me was totally ground me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's the benefit of that?
Ooh, no stress, go through your day. I mean, just totally reconnecting with yourself.
Yeah.
And that was a simple, quick exercise to get to that point.
Yeah.
Also.
So it didn't take a lot of time. So now we can sit down, unless you just want to play and do more exercises.
Right?
Maybe we do that another time. And I would say for anybody that's on, if you've been joining us and doing these movements with us, please comment with what you feel, or if you have any questions about this. I mean, we're going to dive into a little bit of why we started with this, but yeah.
That's awesome. I felt really good. I feel so good. And
oh my God,
you probably could tell I needed that.
Yeah. And that's, what's so powerful is you can pause in any moment of your day and just do a 1 or 2 minute exercise, and it's going to change how you feel in your body.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. That's great.
And so that's what I love about, I call this mindfulness movements, but what you're doing is you're literally becoming aware of your body. So stress is when your brain and your body are disconnected. Through our tapping, we're connecting our 3 brains. We actually have 3 brains. We have our brain in our head. We have our heart brain, which I'm sure you guys have talked about and had other people that talk about the heart brain on your program. And then we have our gut brain. And our gut brain is, as I was mentioning, it's really, there's 10 times more communication with your gut to your brain than your brain to your gut. But our immune system is really housed in our intestines. And so the more we start understanding this relationship between our gut and our brain and our physical body, the more we can build a healthy immune system, and we can build a healthy digestive system, which science is really saying it's our gut that's controlling our health. So not everybody knows that. And especially in this time, we want to know, well, how do we build a healthy gut? How do we boost our immune system? And even more importantly, how do we feel good?
Yeah, well, that's what it's about. How do we feel good? Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It shapes everything you do, if you feel good or bad, and how you do it, and what kind of energy you have around it. So definitely.
So I wanted to, I had you guys, ladies, just jump in with me, and anybody watching, I had you just jump in with me before I explained much. And I think when you experience something, then you can understand maybe the science of why you're doing something. And so I just appreciate that willingness to just play and test it out. But the reason that I teach this head, heart, tummy tapping is that we actually have something in our body called our natural state of balance. And most people haven't heard of that. Sherry, you're familiar with it because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
But we actually have a natural energy flow in our body. Let me see if I have a picture. I'm just such a picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have a picture. Because you
And so
have
here's
great
a question
pictures.
for you. In doing this, do you feel like you created can you see this? Let's see, this is an icon.
Yeah, hold it up a little higher.
Right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now we
So
can.
Do we make better decisions with a hot head or a cool head?
Cool head.
Well, cool head, of course.
So what we're actually doing is creating a cool head. And let me show you what this looks like. We have a natural energy flow. Let's see.
There you
Can
go.
you see that?
There
Bring
you
it
go.
over just a little bit the other direction.
This way?
There you go.
This
Yeah,
way?
right there.
So do you see this flow, the arrows in this body, this guy's body, that we've actually got a natural state of balance? It's an energy flow within our body. So what we're finding is that we're energy. And when we can actually work with that natural flow, like when we're in flow, we feel good. Would you agree? Just most people
Absolutely.
don't know they have a natural energy flow. So our natural energy flow is a cool head and a warm abdomen. When we're in that state, we digest our food properly. Our circulation is good. We'll have saliva in our mouth. Saliva in your mouth is a sign that you're in the rest and digest mode, that you're not in fight or flight mode, right? And then when something happens in daily life, we won't freak out. Right? That signals our kidneys actually to release water. Our kidneys are in charge of the water in our body. Releases water, goes up to our head, and it cools our head. So our natural state is a cool head, warm abdomen. And so what we're learning is how to create that state anytime can be a really useful tool.
Now, what about, okay, so let's use the types of foods we're eating. So let's say the people are eating not so healthy. And but they're doing this that you're sharing with us. Is that going to help them with their digestive system even better, even though they may not be bringing in enough water or the right types of food?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Anything you do, as we know, like health is not just one thing. Right. And so, if somebody feels good doing these things and they feel motivated, now here's the thing, people are going to do what feels good. And so this is a really good start. If, oh my gosh, this just feels so good doing this. Here's the thing that we need to understand. When our gut is warm, for our gut to be healthy, it actually needs to be warm. Wow. And so when we're tapping, we're creating that natural energy flow, but we're warming our abdomen. And that's why I focus so much. It may look a little weird, like tap your gut, right? But what you're doing, there's science behind that, is you're actually warming your intestines. Well, when you warm your intestines, you're actually relaxing them. We hold a lot of tension in our intestines. If we're holding tension there, we're not going to eliminate properly. The bacteria in our gut, in our microbiome, the healthy bacteria like warm. So you're helping those.
And what about being out in the sun? Would the same apply if you were just out in the sun?
That's a great question.
And you're warm, your skin's warm from just being out in the sun?
Yeah. So, it's going to be when you can increase the warmth specifically of your intestines. In my training, specifically in your intestines, 1.5 degrees, you're really boosting your immune system. Now, I'm a big advocate of being out in the sun because then you're getting your vitamin D. We need that connection with the sun. I don't know if it's specifically going to affect your intestines, but it's affecting your overall health, right? And even better if you can be barefoot on the grass, outside, or in the dirt. I've been pulling weeds barefoot the last few days. Oh, it's so fun.
I always get yelled at for that, but I love to be barefoot.
Yeah, and we actually need that connection to the earth. That's one of the most important things that, well, I can't say most important. I mean, it is most important, but simple. It's free.
Right.
You live in a place that you can be barefoot. The earth has its own electromagnetic field that's healing. Nature is very healing for our body. And so you can do that for free. And it's very anti-inflammatory for our body to be barefoot 20 to 30 minutes a day outside.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how long you suggested, because I know that we have a park across the street from my house, and I find myself, like, if I've been sitting too long, I find myself walking across the street to the park and taking my shoes off and walking barefooted on the grass. And even that creates a sense of calmness and balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, I mean, I think nature's our best guide of showing us how to be present.
Christy, I have a question for you. I have Hashimoto's, so hypothyroidism, right? So I always run about a degree cooler, my whole body.
Okay.
So if we're warming the abdomen up, do I need to do it longer to make it warmer?
Yeah. I mean, like in my training, you tap your abdomen for about 10 minutes. You just make it part of your daily routine. So the more you can increase warmth to your intestines, there's different tools besides tapping. I actually teach something called, I'll show it to you. I've got it right here. But what I'd actually recommend to you is something called, this is a belly button healer.
You showed me that once and I was like, what the heck is that?
Right?
Let me see that again.
So this is actually a belly button healer. And I'll stand up and show you this.
Show us how you do it with
everybody that works with me, it's required that they do belly button
healing. Come a little to the middle.
And so you literally stick it in your belly button. This had a happy face. His face is worn off because I've but you literally stick it in your belly button and you're just pressing very gently. And so what it's doing is it's warming your abdomen. So the tapping helps too. There's other exercises you can do, but for you, it's going to be key that you warm your intestines. And so let me explain why we focus on the belly button. You can actually do it with your fingers. You can stick your fingers in your belly button as well and press. Our belly button was the first thing created. We grew from that point, right? Our umbilical cord connected to our belly button, and we had connections through our whole entire body. Like we were literally nourished from that point. And then we were born and our umbilical cord's cut off and you never really think about your belly button again. And you're told like, don't touch your belly button. But kids, a lot of times when kids get a stomach ache, they will press their belly button. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but a lot of times they will naturally know to press their belly button. And so it's really your reset point. And here's the cool thing. We still have all of those connections in our belly button. We have 9 acupressure points in our belly button, and you can promote healing to your whole entire body from your belly button. So,
just pressing on your belly button, like pressing and turning it in a circular motion.
Yeah, you can take 2 fingers. You can
come over a little bit. No, go the other way.
This way?
No, other way. There you go.
Directions, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, we're opposite of you, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like when I have to present at school and I have to put it on the screen, I'm like, well, somebody just do it for me. My brain does not go that way. So you're just gently pressing.
Okay.
You could probably take
2 fingers with 2 fingers, 1 finger.
2 fingers.
Okay.
And you're just pressing and breathing. And then you can even angle up if you needed to. So like if you actually angle up, you're promoting healing to your lungs and your brain. If you're pointing straight down, that's actually to your bladder. So yeah. So,
oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. The belly, but it's the most direct route, and all those connections to our whole body are there. And most people don't know about that. And, when I found out about belly button healing, just to give you a little story about that, is a friend was like, you've got to learn about this belly button healing thing. And I'm open, like, that's weird. Okay. But she said, come with me to a conference. And it was at UCLA with this brain doctor that studied the brain and the gut. And they had people come on stage and they put electrodes on their head, and it showed that their stress was really high and their focus was low. And then they had them sit in a chair and start doing belly button healing. And within just a couple minutes, their focus was high and their stress was low.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, this might be weird, but like, I just was like, okay, everybody that I work with is going to get a belly button healer.
Yeah.
And,
I was
and
just
so-
gonna say, where do you get? I mean, if you wanted to get one of those, where do you get them?
Yeah. So if you're
Sell
close
'em.
to me, I have them here. The company has taken away the opportunity to be a distributor for it.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to work on getting that back. Just because I love to make a little income off of what I promote.
Oh yeah.
But even being, it's something that I would recommend. People can go to changeyourenergy.com, but I'm still in conversations to see if I can bring that back. I used to have a link on my site. And so I'm working on trying to get something like that back, because it's just something to me that, our body's meant to heal itself.
Sure.
And so when we can put tools in place that help our body do what it's meant to do, that's really what we're meant to do. And so I love things that help our body do what it's meant to do.
Now, what about older people, for example, who can't do the jumping up and down or the knee bending, because of other arthritis or something they may have because they're older? What do you suggest for them?
Oh, absolutely. So even the tapping we did, so somebody that is just sitting or even laying in bed, we did the shortcut of head, heart, tummy tapping, because I wanted you to just feel that energy balance in your body. But I'm a big advocate of something called whole body tapping, where you're tapping your whole body. So you're literally, I'll stand up again. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you demonstrate for us?
You're tapping
Come
with
over.
every part of your arm, right? Everywhere, your side. You want to get your kidneys, your hips. I mean, anywhere you can tap all around your abdomen. Just the more you're tapping, we have something in our body called meridians. And so meridians are literally energy flow pathways. Let me show you. Da, 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 da. Can you see that?
To the
Hold
other
it a
side.
little closer and
This
pull
side?
it other way.
This side?
Other way.
This way?
Keep going. No, the other way.
This way?
Yeah,
Yes.
and keep going. Keep
This
going
way?
until I tell you. There you go.
Okay, good.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So those lines represent energy flow pathways in our body. Okay.
Wow.
So when you're tapping your body, you're opening up those meridians. This is what acupuncturists work with. They're looking, they say that disease happens when our meridians are blocked. So through acupuncture, they're helping to unblock these energy channels in our body. So these are all things that are scientifically proven. In the past, maybe it sounded a little bit unfamiliar to people, but we're finding that, acupuncture is being something that's promoted by Western medicine now. And so it falls on those beliefs of these energy flow pathways. So you can do that yourself with tapping your body. Wherever you're tapping, you're just increasing that circulation, that, the blood flow and the energy flow within your body. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Pam has a question for us here. How do people address the energies for certain issues like arthritis, muscle pain, etc.?
Yeah. And so how do people address the energies, I'd love for Pam to be on here, because I know she has different ways that she addresses that too. And so, one is we're looking at, there's things we can do for our physical body with tapping and increasing that energy flow, increasing circulation. So with arthritis, that's going to be a lack of blood flow there too. So often in life, we're not getting proper blood flow and we're getting blocks in our energy, right? So when we're looking at the physical body is one way. So movement is literally moving the energy in the blood physically. But we also have to look at understanding that we're energetic beings, that we're spiritual beings or non-physical beings, and we're physical beings. And so often we're so looking at the physical conditions, forgetting that we are these energetic spiritual beings. So no matter what someone's religious belief is or not, we have a part of us that can't be seen. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That we have a soul or a spirit. And what I've learned when I started this, I really focused on digestive health because my daughter had digestive issues, and I spent 10 years trying to figure out how to support her and what was going on with her. And I was trained so much at looking at the physical, looking at food, looking at exercise. But what I wasn't looking at were the things that couldn't be seen. Yeah. And, what we've learned over, I think the last 12 years, so much has come out in science, is that when we realize that we have this physical body, but we also have an energy body, we have something around our body that's our own energy field. And so that's a lot what Pam's working with too, is that our energy field can be referred to as, our biofield. It can be referred to as our aura. Dr. Daniel Siegel, who's one of my favorite therapists, said it's actually our mind, that our mind runs through our body and around our body. And so what's in that, so that energy around us can store, it actually stores our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, our emotions, our behaviors, our habits, our imagination. So what most people don't understand when there's something going on with the physical body, that physical body is actually inside of your aura or your mind, your energy body. And so whenever we're dealing with some type of a condition, I've learned, it's taken me many years to learn this, but instead of looking at the physical symptoms, what is somebody experiencing in their emotional state? What has happened to them? What have they experienced in their life? And it goes back to what was our childhood like? And this is why it always goes back to childhood, whether we like it or not, right? But what did they experience in their childhood? Because those 0 to 7 were in a hypnotic state, were being programmed. And so
now, how do you talk to people, when you're working with your clients and even with children, because I know you mentioned earlier that you work a lot with children. What's the kind of language that you use in order to start sharing these principles and these new awarenesses with, children? And obviously it changes with adults, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, a lot of this information is really new because people go to the doctor and they're only dealing with the physical body. Right.
And a lot of medication, because a lot of people are taking medication as well.
So, what we're going to find is it's going to be a combination of, treating the physical body. Because here's the thing, we're both. We're a physical body and we're a non-physical body. So we need to have that awareness. So first, I have to help people just connect with that awareness.
Right.
That we're both. And here's the interesting thing is that, anything that's ever been created had to be imagined first. Nothing just shows up without being imagined. And so when we start realizing anything that shows up in the physical world came from, so if we think about Disneyland, Walt Disney had to imagine Disneyland and then he physically created it. Cell phones had to be imagined and then they were created. And so if we start realizing that we are actually designed to create, that when we're using our imagination, we're tapping into, so I call those our spiritual senses, right? So when we are, feeling something, smelling something, tasting something, we're actually using our imagination, and our imagination is going to turn that into something physical. So let me give you an example. If you've ever been driving and there was a driver that irritated you and you felt it in your body, right? And then you talk to your friends about it. What happened to your body at that time?
Yeah. You felt it again.
You felt it, right? So here's the thing, we want to start actually being aware of whatever we're feeling and putting our attention on, we're feeling it in our body, right? If you were mad and you talked about something that made you upset, do you feel tight and tense in your body?
Yep.
And imagine doing that all the time. What's going to be the impact on the physical body?
Well, it's good. And that's where sickness and disease and all these other issues show up, because you're holding it and housing it in your body. And then it's demonstrating in the outer world, whether it be with like knee issues or back issues or what have you.
Yeah, it will show up somewhere, right? And so when people can start understanding, wow, I'm using my imagination all day long. And I'm creating, so what we call it is unconscious miscreation. Most of us have not been trained, and I didn't know this until a few years ago. We're unconsciously miscreating our life, reacting to what is happening outside of us, instead of using our imagination to create what we want.
Well, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that we spend 95% of our day in the past, in the subconscious mind. And we don't realize that we're bringing all those old emotions and old feelings from events that are over into the now. And as a result of that, we're recreating, just as you said, the stress and
Yeah.
And
And then we're living it over and over. And so we're literally programming our brain with things we don't want. So when we have this awareness that our imagination is tapping into our spiritual senses and it's creating our reality. Woo! Right?
Yes.
So literally the feelings we have in our body are creating our reality. And whatever you feel, right? Like if you're feeling good, right? And like maybe somebody cuts you off, you're just kind of like, oh, maybe they're having a bad day. Right? You're kind of going to shake it off, right?
Morning, Donna.
But if you're already like upset about something and someone cuts you off, you're like, that person, right? Like, so
Right.
here's the interesting thing. Our brain is going to prove to us whatever we're feeling.
Yeah.
So whatever
Like my kids used to say to me, they're like, Mom, you've got road rage. And then I said, but from them saying that, just you said awareness, I started to really develop awareness around that. I'm like, I stepped back and I observed that for a second. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. If they're seeing me behave in a certain way and they're saying I have road rage, then, that's a belief that they're creating in themselves about how their mom reacts and behaves when somebody cuts them off.
Right, right. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So that's hitting a lot of levels. They're getting to see behavior, which we know our kids copy what we do, not what we say. Well, they might copy what we say, unfortunately. Yeah. Right. And
unfortunately.
But that awareness you had, I mean, you've been able to shift things and create really just an amazing relationship and awareness for your kids to have this awareness of themselves.
Yeah. Well, and when I've done something wrong, or I don't like to call anything wrong, when I've made choices that I have a moment to step back and observe, and I recognize where I could have behaved differently, then I talk to them about that. Or like when they bring things up to me and they say, you know what, Mom, you're doing this. And then I step back for a second instead of doing that old school thing that my mother did with me and said, do as you're told.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That old program. I mean, you're talking about old programs instead, because I want to grow and I've made the decision to grow. I step back and I can say to them, you know what, you're right. I need to look at that.
Yeah. And isn't that so wonderful? Because you become partners with your kids. You guys are helping each other grow. We're getting rid of this paradigm that I'm older and I know what's right. I think my kids have been my best teachers. They've pointed out so many things to me. And when you can be present with your kids and hear what they're saying, it's really an opportunity for us to grow. Because I think our kids see us, really when we're just in every situation, right?
Yes. And we got to let them know what are the right ones if we're falling off there.
Yeah. And for them to see us make choices and learn from them. I mean, those are powerful learning opportunities for them to realize we're not perfect. And you're going to see that. And I'm going to learn from my mistakes and you share with me what you think about that too. It's really, really powerful, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I always ask them how they're feeling, what's going on inside of them. And because I always do that, they're much more apt to come to me and talk to me about things, any kind of emotions that are going on. Because if they don't feel good, I love the things that you're sharing, because now that gives me new tools to take to them. And say, hey, let's get moving up and down, let's start.
And here's the thing with, I teach a lot of mindfulness movements that create that natural energy flow in the body. And sometimes kids think it's weird, but I tell parents, like, don't worry about your kids doing it. When you feel good, the impact you're going to have on your kids is profound. You just feeling good and being able to be present with them. So they might join you and do it. I'll tell you, teens might be like, this is a little weird. Little kids just jump in and do these things, right? But don't just do it, right? And I mean, you can do it anywhere. I do it out in public all the time. You're putting gas in the car, do your mindfulness movements, right? I'm at the airport, I'll be like doing my exercises and people look at me and I'm like, come on, do this with me. Like, invite people to feel good.
I love it. Well, and Pam has a question right here. She says, what do parents do when teens are resistant to new ideas or trying anything their parents think is a good idea. Out loud.
Well,
Yeah, everybody else out there have ideas that their kids are resistant to.
Uh-huh.
And, and I mean, really how I handle that in the parents that I work with, I said, use the tools that I teach you for yourself. Right? That self-care, that we feel good, that we're learning these tools to be present, to be aware of our own behavior. Like you were saying, that when we can step back and start listening to that internal wisdom inside of like, why is it that I've been behaving that way? Or why is it that I say that? And we're able to be present, we're going to show up for our kids in a whole nother way. So they don't have to do those same things. They might want to, but, not being attached to them wanting to do it or not. And so I would say that, the things that I do, my kids, most of them, I have my middle daughter's way more open to the things like she does belly button healing consistently. My other kids would just look at me and laugh, but that's okay because I feel good. And because I feel good, I'm a better parent.
that's true. And it makes a big difference when you're feeling good and you are the better parent. I had many years where I went through that, where I wasn't feeling good every day. And it was definitely a reflection on my children and even how their moods were, everything else. And now it's a whole different ball game. Most of the time I'm feeling good and it's reflected in them. They come in the room laughing and giggling and being silly versus, everybody being serious all the time. And
right.
Yeah.
Right. And to go back to Pam's question too, I think it's really a great opportunity to have dialogue with our kids and ask them questions and, and they might be like, well, I think that's weird. Well, tell me, why do you think that's so weird? Right. And find out, well, what are the things that you're interested in? What are the things that you do that support your wellness? Or, it just opens up that conversation of being present. And that's one of my favorite things is when we can understand the power of mindfulness, of being in the present moment with curiosity, throwing away judgment, and just getting to be with each other, really present, paying attention to what the other person's saying without making what they're saying mean anything about us. Mm-hmm. As humans, we tend to take things so personally, like, oh, I can't believe you said that, you hurt my feelings. But if we can get rid of that, that's a lot of the tools that I love sharing with people, is that our goal is to be in charge of our own emotional state. We cannot be in charge of anyone else's emotional state, and nobody is in charge of ours. And I think that our kids have been misled, that they do things that they can change our emotional state. They'll be like, oh, you made me so mad, right? Or you disappointed me, right? So kids grow up thinking that their behaviors are going to affect our emotional state because I didn't have these tools when my kids were younger. But when we realize that we might not be able to control a situation, but we can be in charge of our emotions, so that no matter what our kids are bringing to us, we're able to be present and loving. There might still be consequences or discussions to be had. But I think one of the things that we could do is if we can really empower people that they have choices and they're in charge of their own emotional state versus reacting to what happens outside of them. And when we can teach our kids that, that's powerful.
Well, and you bring up a good point there, because a lot of times, and I always like to use myself as an example because I can take accountability for my own behaviors. Because like I said, I want to grow. I want to, step into more mindfulness in today. And so like, I'll be busy. I'll be focusing on the computer or doing things that I'm doing. And one of them will come in the bedroom and lay on the bed and want to talk to me. And they'll say to me, did you hear what I said? And I'm like, yeah. And then they'll be like, tell me what I said. And then, they're calling me on my stuff. Well, and then I'll be like, I'll feel a sense of frustration for a second, and then they'll walk away, and then I step back and I realize, okay, I got to get up and go talk. And then when I go to talk, one of them will say, you got attitude. And I'll be like, but here's the thing. So much of what you just said, I'll say, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm here now. But, I'll say also what you just said. I'll say, listen, just because I might be focused on something else, or you think that I behaved in a certain way, that doesn't mean you have to react to it. That doesn't mean that you have to allow, how you thought I behaved or reacted to affect you in a way that you're upset and mad.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where we get to continually learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to bring this a little bit back to gut health, because
please.
we're talking about, the digestive system. So all these things that we're feeling have a profound impact on our digestive system, because we're literally absorbing what's happening in daily life into our intestines. Right.
Wow.
And so we want to be aware of what are the thoughts that have been in our head. What have we been holding on to? So holding on to resentment will cause constipation and bloating. Right.
Wow.
So we've got to realize that we're not just looking at the physical body. Yes, we want to put good food in our body. We need to feed those healthy bacteria in our gut. So they love fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. They need fiber, sugar, dairy, wheat, things like that can be very inflammatory on the gut and feed the unhealthy bacteria instead of the healthy bacteria. So we want to be aware that foods make a difference. But we also want to realize that our emotional state and what we're holding on to can cause digestive issues as well. And so when we're putting things in, like we're putting in the movement, you're relaxing your body, you're actually working with your emotional state and your physical body at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that that's more important than the foods that we eat, to make sure that we're moving our body and doing some of these movements that you taught us here today, that's much more important than the
I'm going to say it's all important.
Okay. Well, because I'm hearing you hone in on that. And so, to me, I want to get really specific.
Right. Yeah. And so here's the thing. It's going to be, where is somebody at when we can start paying attention to what somebody says and what they're feeling. Mm-hmm. That to me is always going to guide me where I'm going to go with somebody. And so sometimes somebody really wants to know, like, what foods can I eat, right? Like they're really interested in that. And some people, that's the furthest thing from their mind. They're just like, I don't want to have to do those things. So, they're all important. We need to we need to build those healthy bacteria in our gut. We need to, have foods that are going to build a healthy digestive system, because if you're putting things that are inflammatory in your gut and now some people might not notice, like some people can eat anything and they don't feel a difference, right? But if somebody is experiencing some type of digestive issue, we want to help them feel better. And so we want to make sure they're nourishing their body. Does everybody really need to eat healthy food? Yes. But what
let's talk about water for a second, because you and I've had a lot of in-depth conversation around water and the types of water we drink and the differences of how these types of water promote a healthy gut.
Yeah. Hydration is key, and it's not as easily achieved as people think. And even that can be misleading. And this is probably a deeper conversation. But, just digestively, some simple things that you can do is, it's actually better when you're eating not to be drinking water or other liquids. We want the digestive juices, the enzymes in our gut, to break down that food. So often people don't really drink, and then they'll sit down to eat and they'll drink a full glass of water. Well, you're depleting those digestive enzymes and those digestive juices that are meant to break down that food. Wow. So one of the things you can do is be more aware of drinking your water, not like, I just don't put any glasses on the table at mealtime. So if somebody really wants a drink, they're going to get up and get it. And so we know we need to be hydrated, because once again, if we're dehydrated, it all goes down. We need a clean colon. You got to get the poop out. And if we're holding things, so stress makes our intestines hold in waste, right? And then it actually recirculates through your body.
No, gross.
Right? And then if we're not, hydrated, and then it's, so we need that flow. We want to create a natural state of balance and flow in our body.
Right. Now, how much water should a person be drinking per day, and when?
So I'm a big advocate of people drinking water first thing in the morning, hydrate your body. Sometimes people, before they even get out of bed, they'll drink a big glass of water. And so, with my clients, I have a different water that I recommend. I actually recommend something called a way back water because it hydrates you intercellularly. There may be other waters out there as well. But what we're finding is that because of electromagnetic frequencies and things like that, we're actually not absorbing, we're hydrating ourselves vascularly, but it doesn't mean that it's getting intercellularly into our body. And so, not everybody has those options on knowing the different types of water, but I'd say for sure, drink water first thing in the morning, put lemon in it and a little bit of sea salt in it because it's going to help you absorb it more efficiently.
Wow. How much sea salt?
You know what? I just put a pinch. There's probably somebody that would have a certain dosage. I would have to look that up. I just add a little bit because those sea salt has the electrolytes for us, right? And lemon's alkalizing.
So Donna has a question for us here. What does the lemon water do again?
So lemon is very alkalizing for our body. I tend to recommend boiled lemon water where you take an organic lemon and you slice it and you boil it for about 10 minutes. And then you can add a little pinch of sea salt to that too. But it's actually the peel and the white part of the lemon that's so healing for our body. It's actually more healing than the juice. And so when you drink that first thing in the morning, you're warming your gut, right? So it's good for your gallbladder to get everything functioning. I was talking to a client yesterday and he said, you know what? That fat in my gut just seems to want to disappear when I drink that lemon water.
I love it.
I like that.
Love it.
That's my new thing.
So should people should they make a pan of it and then cool it and then be drinking it throughout the day as well?
You want to drink it warm. You can drink it throughout the day, and so you can even make a big batch and then refrigerate it and just heat it up. I say stay away from the microwave because that's, just not good for us.
Sure.
And so, and then the herbal teas can be good too. A peppermint tea or a fennel tea, ginger tea, all of those can be really good. I mean, you can add ginger to your lemon water. That's going to be good digestively as well too. Yeah.
How do you share this with kids? I mean, because, when you talk about water with kids and you start to address these sorts of things when you're working with children at the schools, how do you bring it in where you say, okay, this is what you got to have water? Do they go, uck or yuck?
No, I mean, well, here's the fun thing about what I've been able to do in schools is I'm not their parent.
Right. Good thing.
And, I just come in and we have fun, so here's the thing. They're not doing schoolwork. And Donna's asking, is it okay to add stevia? Yeah, it's okay to add stevia if you would like to as well. Like you can make your own lemonade, right? I mean, that's good too if you want to add a little stevia.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Or a little bit of natural honey or something like that can be okay, just depending on, some people stay away from all sugar. So either one would be fine. But when I go in, it's really the energy that I'm bringing into the classroom that we're going to have fun. And I love talking about eating vegetables and what it does for your body, right? And so it's really that enthusiasm that I bring into the classroom that kids are open to that conversation. So often we're talking about doing these healthy things, you've got to do this, right? And whenever we're told we have to do something, does that feel very good?
Sure. You don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. Eat your vegetables, right? I never tell a child that they have to eat their vegetables or, I want it to be fun. Now, sometimes in a classroom, I'll have a teacher that says, you have to try this. And that puts it in the wrong direction. And so I just really make it fun. And we talk about the superpowers we get from eating healthy foods and what it does inside our body. And then they're like, yeah.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's the feeling. The feeling is the thing itself. And so as we connect more with the feeling and you're bringing more fun into it. I mean, because I know for my own kids, my older kids, when they were little, I mean, the last thing they wanted to do was eat their vegetables. I mean, in fact, they were in their head. You talk about the imagination. They were always like, vegetables are gross and vegetables taste horrible. Whereas the difference with my twins, we started them on vegetables. Like my twins adore salads and broccoli and things like that. Yeah. But so many kids these days don't even, I mean, they're so overweight that they don't even eat vegetables at all.
Yeah. And so then how could you make it fun? Is there something that you could get a tomato plant and plant it and have them help care for it? right? Or something like that, just making it fun so they're learning about it. It might not be that they're putting the vegetable in their body right in this moment, or you're going to the store and you're maybe just trying something new. What do you want to try? And experimenting with it and letting them try it and being okay with it if they don't like it.
Yeah.
Like how
That's a
cool
good
is that you
point.
tried that? Just how can we bring that fun and play into encouraging kids to try something that they might not try, or to understand the growing process and what it takes to grow something.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
yeah,
that's a really good point, because the twins, like one of them says that they don't like the texture of tomatoes. But like what you said, we encourage them to try them, but they'll try them like mushrooms. They cannot stand the texture of mushrooms or tomatoes, where their dad and I are like, we love mushrooms and tomatoes.
Right. And once again, it opens up these conversations of curiosity, right? Well, tell me more about that. Right. And, you might learn something about them because it might remind them of something. And it's just that opportunity to learn and to get curious with them. And like you were saying at the beginning, Sherry, it's not a right or a wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I absolutely love the simple things you're sharing, like what you just said. Tell me about that. I mean, it's kind of that thing that I know, but then when you say it again, all of a sudden there's that reminder in front of me, and I'm like welcoming it, saying yes.
Yeah.
It's another reminder of how to have a conversation with my kids that's going to promote a better feeling, that's going to promote, that no stress and living in the moment too, because you're talking about being present. And I love those simple strategies you're sharing.
I do too, because dinner time is definitely a fight, and not always a fight, but it's really hard because I have so many different variables in my family.
And how old are your children?
So the ones at home are 17, 12, and 7. So when we all come together, it's like, one won't eat this, the other one won't eat this one will eat anything, and it gets frustrating every day, like literally, because one day they'll eat this and then the next day they don't want to eat that anymore. And I'm like, well, you just ate it, you like this, what happened? Like,
right.
So, and one of them turns her nose up to everything,
pretty much everything, won't try anything, just I mean, it's literally like last night she's eaten chicken fried rice numerous times, but because this place we got it from yesterday had peas and carrots, she's like, no, I'm not gonna eat it.
Right.
Crying. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah. And how many families have that same situation where everybody eats something different, right? Or because it has this in it there. So there's a learning opportunity for her in that too. Okay.
Well,
okay, right? Like, okay,
you don't want to eat it? Cool, you're not getting anything else.
Right? Yeah. And so, here's something important to remember, and I'll just throw this out there to you, is how can you create that fun and connection at mealtime? Right. And I know, being that you have kids with different ages, it might take a little bit more of little more getting curious of what you can do. But when we're under stress, it turns off our digestive system. And so if we're telling a kid, like, you have to eat this, right? Their digestive system's turned off. That stress response, because our stress response is connected to in that fight or flight mode. Digestion isn't something that has to happen if you're, feeling like you're being threatened. And so, when we can create that, so with that awareness, it might even be a learning opportunity for her of like, well, what would you like to do now? Like, tell me about that. Right. And that you just get to be there. You're not even attached to whether she eats or not. She might not eat. What's she going to learn?
Well, and she won't. She'll be like, I want cereal. I mean, it's cereal and chips. That's pretty much all she'll eat at this moment. But that's, and I try to have like the fun conversations, like, hey, if you need to eat these things so that you can be healthy and feel good, and, and you just never know. But I like the fact.
I mean, this is just a thought. And here's the thing. I mean, what I love is I have other people work with my kids. Sometimes it's just us. We trigger our kids. I mean, that's the fact. we might say something and they're just like, they might not even be open to the things we say just because we're their parents, right?
Exactly.
Anybody else feel that way?
I was the same way.
And so, I mean, one of the things that I have is, I'm not a kid's parent, it's very different with my own kids than it is with someone else's, but just getting curious of, even just tell me, like, what do you like about cereal? And just having these conversations where it's not this push and pull. She's just going to tell you, well, it just like, these are the things I like about it. Okay. Right. But when we can take the pressure away, it helps create more of that dialogue and that flow. And we're not attached to it. I mean, of course we want our kids eating vegetables, right? And eating healthy, but part of it is our kids are learning themselves how to make choices for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
gosh, Christy, it's already been an hour. This conversation has been awesome.
I could talk to you all day long.
All day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just love all this information. And I love how you've brought such value in to the movement and the simple things that we can do to keep a really healthy gut. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, share with us as the listeners can take away today?
I guess what I would say is practice being present, use these movements, if they're resonating with you first thing in the morning so that you're present and grounded first thing in the morning. Your day, so often we just get on with our day and we think we're already in fight or flight mode. The more we can use these movements to create, choose, what do I want to feel in this day? Create that energy flow in your body so that you feel good, and practice just being more aware of stepping back and noticing, oh, what am I feeling? What am I telling myself? Because it's going to be the thoughts you're thinking and feeling, and, and becoming aware is just a really great place to be. So I hope that that's useful. Yeah, there's a lot more I could say, but I know we need to wrap up.
Yeah. So, I mean, and just like what you've said, I mean, even Donna says here that she's going to focus on using the ideas with her grandbabies. I mean, I'm saying the exact same thing. I mean, the ideas that you've shared here are of value to all of us, how we can be more present and how we can really promote that self-care with ourselves. So I want to thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast today. It's been amazing having you, and I know our audience has loved it too. I want to thank all of you for listening in this week to the Expanded Woman podcast. We have just absolutely enjoyed our guest, Christy Jones. I'm your host, Sherry Gideons, and my co-host is Misty Willis. You can find us on our website at www.expandedwoman.com. You can find us on YouTube at Expanded Woman, and you can find us on Instagram at Expanded Woman. Until next week, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing this out with all your followers. Have a great day.
Thank you.